Sit down and buckle up, because I didn't. Hey, it's me, Ashley, 2E Charlotte Boy. Today I'm going to be telling you about one of the most scary moments of my life. Not only was it scary, but it was frustrating, and you'll see why. The first week of January 2018, I was in my first ever car accident. After leaving my place of employment after 5 years, it was my first day at my new job. Like I said, it was January, and I do live in Illinois, so it was pretty chilly and there was some frost on my windshield. I scraped off my windshield, I wiped it off with the wipers, and I was on my way. As I was driving through my neighborhood, my windshield was pretty clear. There were still some spots, but I had 100% perfect field of view. I turned left out of my neighborhood and immediately there was a really bad glare. Those last few spots on my windshield,
jazz hands,
were just making the glare to be even worse, and I could barely see where I was going, and it got very dangerous. So I knew I had to pull off and take care of it. So the road I was on, it was a 4-lane road. There were 2 lanes coming my way, 2 lanes going that way. I was in the far right lane and I pulled off to the shoulder as far as I could. I wanted to find somewhere to pull into, but like I said, I couldn't see anything. And I was scared I would turn at the wrong time and I would just drive into the ditch. So I pulled off to the side as far as I could go and I turned my hazards on. So I'm a pretty lazy bitch, and I'm not someone who starts my car early in the morning to let it warm up before I leave. I'm a get in and go type of person. So my car wasn't warmed up yet. So I had, the heat on to try to clear up the windshield, but it wasn't warm enough in my car yet. So I was thinking I would either wait there until my car warms up enough for the heat to be able to clear up the windshield, or I could get out of my car and try to scrape off those last few bits of cloudiness on my windshield to try to make the glare a little bit better. So I was deciding to go with option number 2. So I unbuckled my seatbelt. I went to grab my scraper brush thing. Yeah. But then I changed my mind. I was like, it's freezing outside. It was like 15 degrees outside that day. I didn't want to be outside in the freezing cold. I want to live in Florida, high humidity, whatever. I don't care as long as there's no snow or ice or cold, or I don't want to be anywhere where you can see your breath. So my cold ass was like, no, I'll get back in my car and try to pull up and pull into like a restaurant driveway. So I'm sitting in the driver's seat and I make this motion to grab my seatbelt because I had taken it off to go outside. So yeah, I'm turning this way to grab my seatbelt, and then all of a sudden I feel smash.
smash, smash, smash.
It took me quite a while to realize what had happened. I remember taking my foot and just slamming on the brake as hard as I could, even though my car was already in park. Like, I just couldn't understand why my car was moving. I don't know if it was like the shock or the adrenaline or the mix of the two. I was just out of it. For a split second, I thought there must have been an earthquake or something, which makes no sense because, as I said, I live in Illinois. After my car stopped, another 5 seconds or so went by and I finally realized, oh my God, I was in a car accident. Someone hit me. And while I was hit, like I said, I didn't have my seatbelt on. I was about to put it back on when I got hit. So my head hit the window of my car really hard. My first reaction was just grabbing my head like this, and I started crying. I was crying because of pain. I was crying because I was scared. I was crying because I just got in a car accident. I've never been in a car accident before. I've lived a pretty okay sheltered life. Like, the worst things that have ever happened to me really aren't that bad in comparison to, I feel like, a lot of other people's lives. Right away, a really nice woman stops. I roll down my window for her. I'm bawling my eyes out, and she calls 911 for me. Seconds later, another guy stopped. Apparently he was an off-duty EMT. The driver of the car who hit me, he came up and he was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry, I didn't see you. And I'm still not really processing everything, so I'm just like crying a lot, and I'm like, it's fine, it's okay. Little did I know it was the farthest thing from okay, because that man, he's something else, but we'll get to that a little bit later. So the EMTs arrive, they bring me in the back of the ambulance, and they take all my vitals, and they're asking me questions, like if I was hurt, where was I hurt, how bad did it hurt, things like that. And when I told them that I hit my head, they became very insistent that I go to the emergency room. They do advise everyone who gets in a car accident to go in, but they said especially because I did hit my head that it was really important to get checked out, and I didn't want to go. I was still crying, I was still freaking out. I just wanted to go home. Oh, and I forgot to say, while we were waiting for the ambulance to arrive, I texted my husband saying that I was in a car accident and my head was hurting. And then like right when he texted back was when a police officer came up and, you know, she's asking for my insurance and my license. And then I realized, oh shit, I was in such a rush to get to my new job, like on time, that I forgot my purse at home. So then all of a sudden I get very paranoid that like she's gonna arrest me or something. So that made me even more overwhelmed. That made me cry even harder. Like I was in a full-blown panic attack. I was like gasping for air and the sentences I was making weren't making sense at all. Then I got worried that the officer would think that I was on drugs or alcohol, and that made me cry even more. Like this officer probably thought I was a lunatic. I do agree to go get checked out at the ER, and the paramedics asked, do you have someone that you can call to take you? And like in between my tears, I'm saying I can't take my car because I think I was still in denial about how bad the car accident was. Like in my head, I was rear-ended. It's a fender bender. People drive away from those all the time. Later, I realized that I don't think he slowed down at all. I don't think he even noticed that there was a car there in front of him until the very last second. And the way that he hit me, because I was pulled off to the side so far that only like the left half of my car would be hit if he came on head straight, which is what happened. Sorry, this is like all over the place. This is why I need to take notes and just like read that shit off like a robot, because like I'm just telling this all out of order. I'm so sorry. Anyway, the paramedic was like, I don't know if you could drive there. I didn't really take a good look at your car. So then I just had them drive me to the ER. And I also texted a couple other people. I texted my aunt, and then, you know, I texted both of my parents because at the time my car was insured under them. So I needed the password to be able to get into the app to show my proof of insurance to the officer. The officer came with to the emergency room because she needed that information. Luckily, for some reason, I had a picture of my ID on my phone, and I was lucky enough that the officer was nice enough to accept that. So yeah, I texted my husband that I was in the accident. I texted my aunt, and then I texted both of my parents. My husband told me he was coming. He left work. He was on his way back over. And I told everyone else not to come. They all asked me if I wanted them to come, and I said, no, it's fine. Chris, my husband, is coming here. It's fine. I don't need anyone else. We're good. Well, everyone showed up. First, my husband came in, and then my dad came in, and then both my aunt and uncle came in. My mom luckily stayed at work. Even the nurse thought it was weird as hell, because when she came in and she saw the whole slew of people in the tiny room that I was in for my minor car accident injury to be checked out, like it was kind of embarrassing. But what are families for? And the officer gave me some paperwork, and it had the information on it of the guy who hit me. It had his name, his address, his insurance information, all of that. And when I looked him up on Facebook, I saw that it said that he used to work where my uncle works. And sure enough, my uncle knew exactly who it was. I'm just happy my brain wasn't bleeding. Wow, I just noticed that whole time my ring light was not on. Oh, that's so annoying. That was like probably 10 minutes. Oh my god. Hi, welcome to my channel. I'm totally professional, and you should so totally subscribe because I know what I'm doing. Anyway, so yeah, my car was towed away. I got to go look at it later and pick up all my stuff from inside of it. My car was definitely totaled, but we had to wait to pull my car out of where they towed it to until the guy who hit me's insurance came to do, you know, an inspection and find out cost of the damages and how much my car would be to total out. So I couldn't touch my car. And the storage fee is $150 a day, but the insurance covers all of that. So I wasn't too worried, and it took them a long time. I'm not gonna name any names, but it rhymes with Ball State, Call State, Ball State, Sol State, Doll State. And while we were waiting for them to go out to do the inspection. They also let me know that they were investigating to see if the guy who hit me was covered under their insurance policy at the time he hit me. And in my head, I'm like, how long does it take to look up on your computer and see if he paid his bill on time for that month? For me, that should have taken a solid 10 seconds, not almost 2 weeks. But I still was told I was not to take my car out. They needed to go inspect it first. So I'm naive, I'm young, I'm dumb as hell. I've never been through this before. I've never had a close friend who's been through this before. I just did what I was told by the professionals. Bad idea. They finally come out to do the inspection. They're like, yep, it's totaled all right. They gave me the paperwork. Whatever. My car was a 2004 Kia SUV. It was a Sorento. So I already knew it wasn't going to be a lot of money. But, you know, I was just excited to get something to be able to go out and buy a new car. So then after the inspection, we were making plans to go pick up my car from the tow yard the next day. That's when I got that magical letter in the mail saying he wasn't insured at the time of the accident. So I call the tow yard. I explain all of this to them. And like I said, it was something like $150 a day. And at this point, my bill was way over $1,000 already. So I call Ball State, Doll State, Call State, whatever you want to call it. And I tell them that they need to pay for that bill. That car was only sitting in that tow yard for so long because they told me to leave it there so they could send out an investigator. It took them 11 days to send someone. That's not my fault. It took them almost 2 weeks to find out that one of their clients didn't pay their bill, so he wasn't insured at the month of January. That should not have taken that long to find out. Call State. Someone's here for a visit. Say hi. And they basically told me, you're shit out of luck. He's not covered under our insurance. We don't have to pay for anything. So I call the tow yard again. I'm basically crying. I ask them if they will take a payment plan. They say no, it has to all be paid. So now I'm freaking out. I know I have to find over $1,000 somewhere to be able to pay to get my car out. But then luckily they told me if I signed the title over to them that the storing fee or whatever it's called for keeping my car there would be waived, like that part would be free. Now I would only have to pay the $300 or whatever it cost to get my car towed from the accident. So I said, yes, we're gonna do that. Signed my title over, paid them $300. So now I don't know what to do about the fact that this guy did not have insurance. I only had liability on my car. Again, I was young, dumb, naive, ignorant, whatever you want to call me. I know looking back now that I should have had full coverage, or if I did only have liability, then I should have also had underinsured motorist coverage. So if you don't have that, I would look into that right now. I'm telling you, that shit is important. I now and forever will always have full coverage on my vehicle. So yeah, like I said, I had liability insurance. They wouldn't pay me anything for my damages. They did cover my medical bills, which I am thankful for because they were a couple $1,000s. I mean, I did have an MRI. And then whatever my car insurance did not cover, my health insurance covered. So all of the medical bills portion was taken care of, except for the copay, which was like $250. So already I'm at over $500 that I'm paying for this car accident, and I'm getting $0 for my car. A few months later, I did get a check for my car insurance for about $600. I think that was for like pain and suffering. All I know is they could not give me any money for damages whatsoever. And I also had a $100 car seat in the car, which I had to get replaced. Because if you don't know, when you get in a car accident, that like makes your car seat expired. I didn't know whether or not I should try to sue him. Pretty much every professional I talked to told me it would have been pointless. And pretty much all of my friends and family were saying to do it. So I obviously just listen to the professionals. You know, they were saying that they were saying most of the time nothing really good comes out of it unless you're really hurt, unless you're really injured. My best bet was doing small claims court, which if you don't win, you have to pay the few $100s of the court fees, whatever they were. I think it was around $300. So to me at that point, it wasn't worth the risk of having to pay more unnecessary money, because there was no guarantee that I was going to win any money whatsoever. So yeah, I just said screw it. I kind of regret it. I kind of wish I would have just tried. I mean, I wasn't trying to make a buck off of this accident. I wasn't trying to get rich off of it. I just wanted the cost of damages. I just wanted to be able to replace my car. Instead, I had to buy a car with, you know, zero money to put down. I ended up getting a 2003 Honda Element that cost $3,000. It's just really annoying because, like I said, I did have the contact info of this guy, and, you know, it had his address, and he lives right down the road in luxury apartment that cost more than my mortgage for my 4-bedroom house. And a couple months after the accident, him and his girlfriend took a trip to Jamaica. You can afford a luxury apartment and a trip to Jamaica, and you can't pay your car insurance bill? I have it on auto pay. You don't even have to think about it. It just takes the money out every month. I'm sure I'm missing something. I feel like I just talked for a really long time and said pretty much nothing. I'm sorry if this was really boring to you. But if you watched it, thank you so much. If you could subscribe, it will kind of take away the pain of having an uninsured driver hit me. But no, for real, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. Don't know how to end videos. Bye.